Today, I want to share with you 3 powerful books that can really impact your UI and UX designer career. Funny thing is, they're not books made specifically for designers. Despite that, they can definitely be used to craft an unbelievable career for yourself. These books have stood the test of time, and they can certainly make an impact for you and your work. And to quote the famous Dr. Seuss, the more things you read, the more things you know. The more that you learn, the more places you'll go. Now let me get right into it. The 3 books I'd like to discuss with you today are Getting to Yes, The War of Art, and a classic, How to Win Friends and Influence People. As you notice, none of those books are specifically targeted at designers, but that's where I think the strength lies. I assume that you're consuming a bunch of content for becoming a designer. You're reading those designer books. So fleshing out the rest of your person, of your approach, of your capabilities can really set you apart from other designers. Now you should be reading some of the classics of designer books, specifically Don't Make Me Think, The Design of Everyday Things, Hooked, How To, 100 Things Every Designer Needs to Know About People, Lean UX, Designing Great Products with Agile Teams. But reading these almost feels obvious. What other works can you consume to make yourself a more well-rounded designer? And that's where going beyond UI and UX books really helps. The books I list here really helped me personally to grow as a designer, to connect with my coworkers, my clients, and to better serve the businesses I was working with. These books are quite popular, so you should be able to find a copy at a library, at a used bookstore, or anywhere else to be able to internalize their messages. First up, Getting to Yes, Negotiating Agreement Without Giving In. To pull a quote, the ability to see the situation as the other side sees it, as difficult as it may be, is one of the most important skills a negotiator can possess. This is a book that I've recommended to any UI designer that I've worked with or mentored. You might think by its title it's going to be more geared towards marketing or salespeople, but just looking at some of the stated benefits on the back of the book really start to show its power and how you could use it as a designer. So from the book itself, separate the people from the problem. Focus on interests, not positions. Work together to create options that will satisfy both parties, and negotiate successfully with people who are more powerful, refuse to play by the rules, or resort to dirty tricks. Certainly sounds like useful skills for a UX designer who has to navigate difficult problems with multiple stakeholders. It is a concise and useful read. It's going to really help you negotiate with peers and other people within the business, clients, to get to a mutually beneficial resolution. It can also really help in future as you start to negotiate salaries, benefits, and anything else within your employment. Highly recommend it for UI, UX designers. The War of Art. Break through the blocks and win your inner creative battles. This is probably about the most obvious pick of the bunch because it is about creatives and pushing past what he calls the resistance to get to some of your best work. To pull a quote, the most important thing about art is to work. Nothing else matters except sitting down every day and trying. It is a beautiful little play on words from The Art of War by Sun Tzu. However, this book can really be a slap in the face, but in the best way possible. In the book, Stephen Pressfield goes on to describe an inner force that's going against us called the resistance, something that stops you from working, stopping you from going. And there's no magic solution, there's no silver bullet. It is just about sitting down and doing the work. Coincidentally, Do the Work is another book from the same author that's also excellent if you happen to like it. UI and UX designers could be tempted to derail themselves because they're not feeling inspired or they don't have the right motivations going on. And this book does great to dismantle all of that. As Steve Jobs says, artists ship. It is imperative for our careers to push through and produce. Another concise, quick read. He doesn't mince words, but this book can have a massive impact on your output. I hope you found the first 2 books interesting. If you found this useful, go ahead and subscribe to the channel to keep getting more tips and tricks for growing your UI, UX, or creative career. How to Win Friends and Influence People. The only book you need to lead you to success. No hyperbole at all. To quote, you can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you. This book was originally released in 1936. The powerful lessons of this book still very much apply today, if not more. It is almost a cliche to recommend this book to someone starting out their career. However, I think there's a very interesting, subtle twist specifically for UI and UX designers. The book is primarily about understanding human relationships and how to grow your group with each interaction. It can be easy to teach a designer how to produce a proper user flow or how to produce a better looking design. But the interpersonal skills, they're going to have people like you and want to recommend you and bring you back for more work. Those could be much more difficult to handle. And that's where this book shines, giving you simple and practical tools for approaching these interactions. In some ways, it doesn't matter how beautiful your UIs are or how tight your user experiences are. Your career is going to be built on connections and relationships. And this book gives you an amazing set of tools to thrive with others. It can be tempting to only want to read UI and UX books when we start to build our career. But it pays massive dividends to go outside of our discipline and become more well-rounded individuals. Like learning how to negotiate with others and get win-wins, how to push through difficult problems and continue to produce, and how to become somebody who people want to work with and want to bring back for more designs. Do you have any other book suggestions that are great for a UI UX designer that isn't about UI and UX design? Leave them in the comments below. I'd love to have a read. Now, I'm a bit sheepish to suggest my own book to stand amongst these classics, but I'd be a bit foolish not to mention that I have written a book myself, An Ugly Design Career, that was very much inspired by these works and their writing style of providing solid value without large amounts of words and specifically tailored for designers. Do check it out if you get a chance, anuglyDesignCareer.com. I'll leave the link in the description. Thanks so much for watching. Remember to subscribe and cheers to your well-rounded UI UX design career.